Hello and welcome to a brand new episode of Grab a Seat podcast. I'm Ankit, tuning in from Bengaluru, or Bangalore as some of you may know it, India's very own Silicon Valley capital city. And I'm super excited to speak to two absolutely incredible, insightful individuals here from Grab today. I've got Jia Chen and Serene. A very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever people are watching this from. How are you doing, Jia? How are you doing, Serene?
I'm doing great. Excited to be
Um,
here.
Absolutely. Such an honor. How are you, Serene?
I'm doing great as well. Yeah.
So both of you are tuning in, as I understand, from the Singapore office.
Yes, that's right.
Just to get a weather check, I would love to understand what is the temperature out there right now, because I'm sitting in a very, very cool 23 degrees Celsius here in Bengaluru.
That is a very good question. There are no windows in this room. But Singapore generally is about the same temperature all year round. So I think it's probably around 30 degrees. Yeah, thereabouts.
Love it.
It's very stable. Very stable.
And if it gets too hot, it just rains anytime. I absolutely love that about Singapore. Okay, so this conversation is going to blow all the listeners and viewers' minds, because you're going to hear about innovation, about data science, about machine learning, about algorithms, but above all, what makes these seemingly complex and dry subjects so exciting, so human-like at Grab. And that's what the entire Grab a Seat podcast is all about, to give a human touch and a human face to all the tech gobbledygook, which works like magic in the background. So we're going to start this by actually checking in with Jia Chen. And Jia has been at Grab for a long time, and he's been in the space for a decade and a half. But Jia, I actually want to ask you, Jia, do you have any kids?
Yeah, I have two.
Okay, how old are they?
13 and 8.
Okay, so the 13 and 8 and your kids means they're definitely quite smart. But how did you explain to your children what you do for a living?
Yeah, this is a very interesting question. So basically, to explain them how data science work is about telling them we are building machines that make decisions on a daily basis. Basically, as human beings, we are making various decisions, how we forecast the weather goes, whether we want to bring an umbrella, etc., etc. But making the decisions require a lot of data. So that's called like data-driven decision making or prediction. That's also a reason why it's called data science. Right? So whenever you are going to build like a robot that can do assistant jobs, whether you want to improve user experience with data-driven mechanisms or algorithms, that's where we want to do data science.
Amazing. Love that. And did your kids also ask you to make a robot that can help them with their homework?
Now they have ChatGPT.
I'm so glad you said that, because just last week, my daughter was asking me about a math problem, a math sum. And I was like, I don't want to pretend that I know how to do this. So I just said, hey, why don't you try ChatGPT instead of asking me? That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. Serene, what about you? How do you explain to your parents or to your family what you do?
So it's pretty funny. I mean, my kids are quite small, 2 and 4, so it's hard to really explain down to the detail what we do. Although I do have a picture of my son when he was like 1 year old, or maybe less than 1 year old, I think, 6 months, I think, lying in this, little chair, holding this book on neural networks for babies. So I'm trying to start him young, but
Wow.
but generally, I think I try to explain it a little bit more from the. Obviously, I think they understand that, a little bit about like data, the understanding of that term, but I think more along from a domain perspective, like what I do, right? So I'm in the fulfillment side of the house. So, we talk about, they've seen, like my kids have seen me trying to book a ride, for example, for my parents and things like that, for myself. And they were always very interested to look at the screen, right? So I'm telling them, hey, what mommy does is that, when you press book, all the things that go on behind the scene, I help to make the car get here, right? Something along those lines. So that works for
Magic.
now. So it works for
Mummy
now.
does magic. That's all you need to tell them, and they're gonna love it, I'm sure, because it's pretty magical what you and your teams do. I want to shift back to Ja, and I want to ask you, Ja, because I was researching, I was going over your LinkedIn, I was going over the incredible time that you've spent building everything that you built, and 15 plus years of experience in cutting edge research, development in ML, AI algorithms, building real world systems. I don't know if you can actually divulge the real number, but I have to ask, how many patents do you have to your name so far, and which ones are you most proud of?
Um, I didn't count myself actually. I think I filed a few before I joined Grab, but now I think we are finding more. I think patent is a way where we summarize our work, summarize our ideas, and then build a portfolio where we can kind of protect the IP, protect our innovation in a way. So I didn't pay too much attention in tracking the things. I pay more attention to the day to day.
Spoken like a true genius. I'm so busy inventing cool things that I'm not going to spend time counting the number of patents that are on my name or my team's name. All that is for post retirement whenever that happens. Amazing. I want to jump in and, Jai, I want to ask you, why is data science so critical for Grab's success, for Grab's business? And literally, I mean, Grab is for users across different countries in Asia. It's a super app. It's literally magical, like Serene was saying that she would explain to her children. But how does data science play this magician's role in all the multiple businesses that Grab operates in all the different geographies? If you could give us a 30,000 feet view of those.
Yeah. So I will just share a high level opinion. I believe the audience will get an even better sense while listening to our conversation, the podcast. So like I said, like data science in Grab mainly focus on making those algorithms and machine learning models that help drive decision and prediction for our product, for our business, and optimize the user experience. So in a single user session, whether the user is booking a ride or making a payment, a number of such prediction already happen. So from a consumer front end, recommendation, personalization happens. In the back end, we're optimizing driver experience, merchant experience, and their earnings. We also silently screen every login event, every payment event to protect our users from risk and fraud. So just in a nutshell, all the models nowadays in Grab are making billions of predictions every day. So without leveraging data science, it's very difficult or even impossible to operate the system at such a scale in such an efficient way. So that's the reason why we keep innovating in data science, because any incremental sub-percentage improvement will generate huge experience, efficiency, and a financial impact for Grab.
And for millions of users, hundreds of millions
Yes,
of
of course.
users.
Millions of users, millions of merchants, millions of driver partners. So basically, that's a whole ecosystem.
Multiple stakeholders. Love that. Amazing. I want to come to you, Serene. And if you could, I like how Ja has given us a nice overview of it at a 30,000 feet level. But if you can go a little more specific with some of the initiatives, what are some of the examples of innovative data driven initiatives that have helped propel Grab's growth? And I'm just looking at your last results that were announced, and phenomenal quarter, phenomenal EBITDA positive news over there. So if you could share some of those initiatives that bring this magic to life.
Mm. Sure. I think maybe I'll come at it, I think, through the perspective of the domain that I'm working on the fulfillment side. So maybe a couple of examples, right? I think for us at Fulfillment, a lot of the focus is related to, how can we help drivers become more efficient, right? And so like one of the problems that we face today are that, driver partners very often, they will not know where they can drive to get their next job. And lack of this information would simply mean that they'll be either idling away their time, missing out on chances to earn more, And if they're driving aimlessly, then it also means that they're actually wasting fuel, right? So we want to offer our driver partners like different tools to let them know, how they can actually increase their chance of getting a job. And one of this is in relation to heat maps or heat map navigation. So what this means is that we actually use our data science models to predict demand and supply patterns, right? Essentially forecasting demand and supply ahead of time. So this allows drivers to start going towards the areas of expected supply crunch, right, ahead of time, right? So by the time they get there, they have a high chance of getting a job. Another initiative would be things like, how can we do just-in-time allocation, right? This will actually help drivers save time. So what we try to do here is that we aim to get our delivery partners to arrive at the merchants or the restaurants right when the order is ready for pickup. So how we do that, I think we use models to predict, multiple factors such as, the expected time taken for food preparation, right? How long does it take to assign a driver to an order, to pick up an order, and also the time taken for our delivery partners to get to the restaurant, right? So this all allows our merchants to begin food preparation at the right time, right? So this ensures that our delivery partners arrive at the store as soon as the order is ready for pickup, rather than too early or too late. And doing this, we have reduced average wait time for our driver partners significantly. So these initiatives help to improve like driver efficiency and earnings, allowing them to get jobs quicker and to save time. And on the consumer side, right, these efficiency improvements also help them, right? It means that they have a higher chance of getting allocated a driver for their ride or for their order. So these are some examples, and there are many more. And I would say that tech and innovation is really core to our work to keep improving and to do better. Yeah.
Phenomenal. The magic secret sauce that happens in the background for fulfillment. Absolutely incredible work, Serene and team. Jai, I actually want to, ask you to extend on that. If there's anything that you would like to add to how the data science team contributes to bridging this unique online offline aspect of what Grab offers, right? I think I read a word somewhere which pretty much sums it up. Phygital, which is physical plus digital, PHYGITAL, phygital, because you're building all these incredible digital models with data scientists to deliver actual physical on-ground services. So in a way, it's phygital. So anything you'd like to add as to how this is bridged, the online and offline aspect?
Yeah, exactly. That's a great question. So in a nutshell, the Grab is a platform that links offline demand and supply with this digital platform, because digital platform is more effective than really physical routing. If you are want to book a taxi, you call the call center and wait a few minutes, and you don't know where the taxi is. Or similar, you can call the restaurant and you don't know where the guy delivery your food is, right? So there are a lot of benefits for this digital platform. And I just want to say, data science help us to digitize the offline world, so we can map everything into this digital world, right? So for example, we spend a lot of time and investment to build a digital map covering Southeast Asia. So data science is critical in this map making process, especially automating this whole process, which involves like recognition of street names from photos. Similarly, we can recognize house numbers, traffic signs with computer vision technologies. Natural language processing and many other algorithms will also be applied there to post-process a result, like for spell correction, like for clustering, like for combining many other signals like GPS and fusion all the data together to get the structured map data. Another example will be, we're not just digitizing the physical world, we're also digitizing the user's identities, right? We do that for drivers, such that we can verify, hey, the driver pick you up is a driver who got a screening, who got the verification before onboarded to the platform, such that we can ensure the safety of our ecosystem and our users. Similarly, we also digitize our end users if they are going to use a digital wallet, because that's a regulatory requirement. That's also for the safety of the whole platform. So in order to do that, several AI technologies are involved. For example, facial recognition, optical character recognition, so we can digitize the ID document. So without those AI or data science solutions, all we have to do is to do it manually. Imagine you are going to the bank to submit your application and wait a few days for approval. That's basically impossible to scale for our millions of end users and our drivers, right? So we are employing a lot of such advanced algorithms to facilitate this digitization process. That's just some examples I have.
That is phenomenal. I definitely don't want any of you to keep to stop from talking, because I can keep listening to this on and on and on, because it sounds phenomenal, especially the scale at which you build, right? And Jia, you actually mentioned a particular word, a particular term a couple of times, which segues me beautifully into the next question that I would like to ask both of you to elaborate on, and that is the safety aspect of it. Because safety is so multifold when it comes to data. And as is popularly said, I'm sure you're tired of hearing that phrase, that data is the new oil. Every data scientist is like, I know it is the new oil, and we are doing what we can with it. But how do you safeguard it? How do you safeguard the data that millions of customers are, creating and producing every millisecond using Grab services across the geographies? How do you safeguard the security of the data that all your stakeholders, partners, vendors, they are producing? And also because of the incredible amount of data that Grab's own algorithms are mining and producing, I would love to hear about how central security is to all of this. And it's not an afterthought that security as a feature, but it's integral to the entire data science model that you do.
So in Grab, we have a standard approach to address those security and safety issues in terms of data. We have a system with very strict access control, tier the data based on the sensitivity. So we have data points with private information, which can identify the real user. That's called a tier 0, which requires the highest level of scrutiny and approval if anyone wants to get access to. And we do a lot of anonymization when we are building models. And I think for another perspective, like we have a very strong cybersecurity team, which safeguard our entire system from unauthorized access from outside the company. So I think that's pretty much I see. Anything for Serene to add?
Yeah, I mean, I think you've covered most of it. I think access controls, how we handle PII data, how we ensure that, essentially, after some time, that the data, data that we don't need is actually then deprecated, for example, as well.
Yeah, I don't think most people understand that you're not really in the business of course, that's the external manifestation, that you're in the business of fulfillment of cab rides or food delivery or any of the, other financial services. But fundamentally, Grab is in the business of trust. And trust gets built only by secure mechanisms in the back end. I want to come to you, Serene, now let's change gears a little bit using the cab and the car analogy. Let's switch gears. I see you've been at Grab for over 7 years. That itself is fantastic. Congratulations. If there's a brand new data science professional coming in to the ecosystem in India or anywhere in Asia, whoever's watching this, and they're all pumped up and they're like, I want to go work with Jia, I want to go work with Serene. What is it that sets Grab apart as a company for prospective data science professionals?
I know it's a great question. So when I think about it, I think what's exciting for data science professionals in a role is essentially two key things, right? One is like, how much can you actually drive impact in this role? And the second one is, are the use cases that you work on interesting, right? So I think one of the big benefits of working at Grab is the volume of the data that we have for you to work on as a data scientist. So as you imagine, as a platform, we crossed our 1 billionth ride in 2017. That's 5 years after the company was born, and then it took us 5 more years to increase this by 10 times, right? So we hit 10 billion rides and deliveries last year on our Grab's 10th birthday thereabouts. So that's just scratching the surface, right? I think as there are so many, other than transactional data on rides and orders, there's so much other related data. I think Jia has mentioned some of those, right? In terms of structured data, but also unstructured data, for example, image data, chat logs, etc., to leverage on. So that provides a lot of material for data scientists to work with. And in the same vein, you can imagine at this scale that we have, you as a data scientist have a lot of opportunity to drive impact, right? So increasingly, we are leveraging it on a lot more advanced models as well, because like a 1% improvement or a 0.5% improvement in a metric often means huge impact in our scale, right? So I think that's one part of it. And the other part is that, we have a whole variety of like really interesting and challenging problems to solve at Grab, right? From like what Jia mentioned about safety, mapping, fulfillment, consumer experience, so on and so forth, right? So yeah, I've been here for just over 7 years, you're right. And, the problem spaces still remain very interesting as of today.
That's fantastic. Thank you, Serene. And I think you've been here at Grab for about 3+ years, Jia. I'd love to understand from you on the aspect of, even though you're such a ginormous organization across the geography, such a huge force, but there's almost this palpable startup-ish sentiment within different teams, within different functions, within different verticals and departments. So talk to us about how that is enabled and how exciting that can be for young professionals in data science who would like to consider working at Grab.
Yeah, I see this as a continuation of the previous question asked to Serene. I think another important aspect, like why data science is so exciting, is it's like always working in a startup. So first of all, Grab is innovating every day. The product, the business, we have new product features and bringing new user experience, right? We have new business verticals in different areas. We are experimenting on the, not to say daily basis, but monthly basis probably. Within this fast-pacing organization, data science also have a lot of challenges, but you can see those challenges as opportunities. The analogy I use is like data scientists are always working like in a startup environment, because you're always testing something new. You're supposed to use new technologies to solve new problems and delivering new impact. Right? So this is the mental model I have for the data science teams.
That's fantastic. And that can be super exciting for any new talent who wants to come here, operate and build at scale and get the startup feel, right? Since you spoke about new experiments and new features, I have to ask both of you your thoughts on the explosion of consumer applications with AI that 2023 saw, the launch of OpenAI's ChatGPT, the launch of apps like Midjourney, DALL-E, and there's just so much happening that's constantly grabbing the eyeballs. We're not going to talk about everything that happens with the board and the CEOs, but from a technology point of view, as someone who's been in data science, AI, ML for as long as you have, Serene, what do you think of how LLMs or large language models, how are that going to impact consumer-facing apps like Grab? Do you see a foreseeable future where a consumer in anywhere in Asia can literally chat with a Grab app like they are chatting with their friends, and the entire fulfillment happens so organically in a human natural interface?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think LMs have really the potential to sort of change the game in terms of like how we, the user experience front of it, right? So like how can that communication with users be a lot more human-like, right? And really speak in a way that consumers really understand and feel connected to in a way. Right, so I think there's a lot of room for this, and I think there's a lot of exploration that we're doing internally as well. Actually, for LMs as a whole, right, not just the consumer experience facing front, but there's a lot more the LMs can also do to also enhance
even in the back end.
external productivity.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, definitely, I think it's an area that we are very actively working on to see, what will be the best use cases to actually apply this technology to.
But a lot of the improvement has been done through leveraging the capabilities from those large models, whether it's large language model or large computer vision models. A few examples, like we are providing summarization of user reviews, because user feedbacks, user reviews are important source of information for another user to make their choice, right? But reading through tens or thousands of reviews is a time-consuming task. What are the most relevant reviews? What are the most relevant opinions from others? And how to summarize that? So basically, we have leveraged large language models to provide a very quick summarization. This has been done as a very quick implementation of the product feature and roll out very quickly. So that shows the power of using those large language models. Another example will be we are leveraging those large models to moderate the content, because we want to provide a safe environment for both merchant and consumers. So that's how we leverage those large models and combine it with quote unquote traditional machine learning pipelines to deliver impact in the system or in the customer facing experiences.
Interesting. Thank you so much for that, Jia. Serene, I want to come to you and I want to drive your attention to measurement of success, because for new professionals who are coming in here, we spoke about the incredible scale of ideas and new opportunities that they can work at, the amazing startup environment. A big part of people mapping their own career at incredible companies like Grab is also understanding, am I and my company setting me up for success? So as the head of data science at Grab, what do you think the measurement looks like, considering data science as a function is something that interacts and interfaces with so many different functions? It does not operate in a way, in a silo, so to say. So what can you talk about measurement of growth and performance within the data science function?
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I think that's a very interesting question. I think for most people, I think people are very interested in understanding, the career path and so on and so forth. I think I think there are various aspects of this. I think one aspect, obviously, is from the technical lens. So as a data scientist, I think, how are you actually trying to leverage data science to actually solve a problem, right? So I think, how do you actually come up with that solution? How do you actually structure the problem first, come up with a solution, right? And what kind of models do you actually build? How do you actually build the models? The whole process, right? In terms of the technical capability, I think that's very, very important to be able to achieve well, right? So I think everything surrounding that, in terms of like getting the models out to production, right? I think that's one part of it. I think the second part of it will be more like thinking of the problem as a whole, right? Like literally end to end, right? And delivering it end to end, right? So it's less of just one technical piece, but how do you actually piece all the technical pieces together to solve the whole product problem, right? We don't want to be in a silo where we're just working on one part, but we actually don't know, does it actually solve the problem, right? Once the model is rolled out, what happens next, right? Is there something that needs to happen for it to be actually a success once it's deployed? Is there some change management that needs to happen? So I think it's important to also, for data scientists, to actually understand this whole process end to end. And doing this, I think you need to collaborate a lot cross-functionally with product, with engineering, with business, so on and so forth. So I think that's a very important piece as well, which is often overlooked. And I think the last part, I think, would be relation to, which I think is very, very important, is in terms of, I would say, culture, right? And that part of culture that I mean is also about how do you actually drive the project forward, right? And in any working environment, I think there's a lot of things that can get stalled along the way. Can you, as a data scientist, go beyond just, I'm looking at this model and I'm trying to figure out how to solve it, but, push things along, right? Get alignment, push things along with the problems to solve, let's solve that. So I think that's a really, really important part of a data scientist journey as well, in terms of success.
Perfect. Thank you so much for sharing that. I want to turn the lens slightly inward now. We've understood about the function, we've understood about the organization. I want to ask maybe a bit more personal questions to both of you, and I'll start with Ja. Um, you're, I'm guessing, majority of your day you're staring at screens. How do you personally What do you personally do to stay fit and to handle the fatigue or the stress from all the number crunching and all this incredible work that you're doing, building this magic sauce in the background for millions of users? What do you do? Because you look so zen. I want to do whatever you're doing. So please teach me, Sensei.
Okay. Uh, just sharing some very personal tips. I do exercise from time to time. I especially love hiking because that's where you get a touch of the nature and you forget about everything from digitized world, right? So you forget about numbers, you forget about technologies. What you focus on is what's surrounding and what's ahead of you. I also do reading, although that maybe doesn't help too much on the physical body shaping. They help me kind of shaping my mental health.
Hey, the
Um,
mind is the strongest organ of the body, they say. So you are
yes,
doing
yes,
more mental workout. Yeah.
yeah. Counterintuitively, I do coding from time to time. I think it's just a bit of exercise both physically and mentally. Hope that helps.
Interesting. That's interesting. And do you also take your kids out hiking on the weekends?
Yes, yes.
What a beautiful habit to cultivate with the young kids. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. I appreciate that. Serene, what about you? How do you stay sane and zen? And what do you do to re-energize and revitalize you after a hectic week at work?
So I guess I have two pretty young kids, they're 4 and 2, right?
Yes.
So I think I'm naturally forced to get off my computer, get off my phone because they're calling for my attention. So I think that's a very natural interface that I have, like, moving out from staring at the screen to, these two little kids, like, screaming for my attention. So I think that's, also exercises a different part of the brain in terms
Oh
of how
God,
do you
yes.
relate to them, and how do you, um, you know, we talk about machine learning models, right? Like you talk about children, they're also like learning children, right? Like, so, how can you also cultivate that in your children in a different way, right? It's sort of like similar yet different, but so that's what I spend most of my time on outside of work. Yes.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. I was actually listening to Elon Musk on a podcast, and he spoke about how his son, and so he's building his own AI models, etc. And he was talking about how he sees similarity between young kids developing their own neural pathways and gateways,
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
how incredibly similar that is to way an AI model gets built as well. And he was like, the more we want to understand how to build better AI models, all we need to do is look at how our kids are building these neural pathways, which happens so invisibly and so magically. The process of learning that happens so organically, right? So, wow,
Yeah,
Serene, who would have
exactly.
thought
Yeah.
that you're going to be a better data science person by just observing your children grow up and their own process of osmosis and synthesis of information?
Yeah, it's literally
So
reinforcement learning, right? Put in the right rewards and they will learn.
yeah, so we recommend data scientists to have their kids and raise the kids, observing the kids in order to build better like real life models and also those machine learning models.
Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I'd like to hear from you also about, I mean, I'll go with Serene first. You've been here for 7+ years. Any particular experience through your time that you've spent here? I know there must be hundreds of them over this rich tapestry of 7 years, but any project or any experience that while working here has really stayed close to your heart and is a very, very fond memory that you like sharing with people about your time here at Grab?
Oh, this is a tough one,
And
which I'm
yeah,
not
and the
sure
next,
how much
and
I
Ja,
can say.
you have to add as well, Ja. So you better think up your experience already while Serene tries to answer this.
Sure.
Oh, this is going to be a tough one.
Or whoever's ready with it can go first. Fastest finger first.
I don't know whether I have any example that I can share openly.
Of course, without giving out confidential information or anything like that, but any example, any project, any experience where you literally you were impressed, you were happy, you were blown away by how the team and everyone came together to just like deliver things against maybe difficult deadlines or difficult circumstances. I'm guessing there might be a bunch of examples from the pandemic itself where, the entire business itself and life itself, everything was under a question mark. So I don't know.
Yeah, I think there was. It's just that it's very difficult to talk about it in an interesting way without divulging the content of what actually happened. Yeah, or not. It sounds like, oh, everyone worked together, and it doesn't sound really interesting.
No, I appreciate the over-indexing on confidentiality, because as we spoke about security, it's a very important principle here for the data science team at Grab. So I appreciate that. That's okay. I won't push on that. But Jai, anything you would like to add from your time and experience?
Yeah, maybe I can share a small example which is not pretty much related to the technology, so not too much like a confidentiality. So there was a case we want to consolidate the new technologies into a demo because we want to demonstrate to some external stakeholders. However, if we carry out the usual way, we will involve like multiple functions inside Grab. For example, engineering team to provide us like backend service, designers and front-end engineers to build out a web portal, etc., etc. It will take time. However, this is kind of a prototype and POC, so we decided to do it quick, right? So I think the team came out with very hacky solutions. We don't build a very stable like backend service or it's not a very stable front end. We just combine things together and we work like very, very intensively in one week's time, and we build a very beautiful demo end to end. So I'm not saying you don't collaborate with like other functions. Certainly we should do, but this is a case where we drive up velocity by taking the full stack end-to-end development cycle within the data science team. So I think it's a pretty interesting and a very important kind of a skill for everyone to have is go a little bit beyond your own function. Because nowadays the boundaries between functions are very blurred, right? What's more important is to build the solution. Especially now we have GPT, we have those large models, so you can get even a lot more help from those large models. And I think velocity matters a lot in such kind of an innovation process. So having a very quick end-to-end like development cycle, end-to-end deployment and experiment will get us like at a higher velocity of feedback loops. Whether it's a success or failure, it doesn't matter, right? We keep our learnings very quickly. I think that's very important for data science teams where uncertainty is like normal for everyone, right? So what's the right methodology for us to minimize uncertainty, get answers, get the roadmap and the right direction to go to develop the next generation of technologies. So this is one of the learnings.
Love it, love it. Absolutely love it, Job. Velocity is important and solution-based mindset, action for bias, that is important. And also, I love the way that you spoke about putting together a hacky solution, which may not be the most elegant one, but the faster one. And in India, I'm sure you may have heard of this term from other folks. In India, we actually have a specific word for it, which is called jugaad.
Hmm.
Jugaad. And
Jugaad.
Jugaad is
Okay.
literally a hacky solution that's put together, which is part prototype, part makeshift, but gets the job done. And eventually, systems can stabilize and resources can be allocated, etc. But I'm a huge fan of the Jugaad model of innovation. So sounds like that's a common theme across Southeast Asia, the scrappy,
Yeah,
hacky,
yeah.
quick method. That's incredible. Okay, now 2 questions for which you can take 20 seconds if you want to crystallize or articulate your thoughts, but each of these questions has to be answered by both of you. Number one, I would like to hear an elevator pitch from each of you. I don't remember, or I don't know what was the last time you went and made an elevator pitch, but I would like you to make an elevator pitch for new aspiring data science professionals to come work with you and your teams at Grab. That's the first bit. That would be the easier bit, I feel. And the second bit is almost an elevator pitch of exactly what is it that you do at Grab and your contribution to the business at Grab. So I'm sure both of you are ready. But Serene, would you like to start?
Okay, I hope I don't get into a coughing fit, but okay. Yeah, it's like I was just trying to hold it in when Jia Chen was talking, but
Hey, you can
okay.
grab a sip of water if you want. Just get comfortable.
Right, I'll just do that real quickly.
It's totally cool.
How long is the elevator pitch? 1 line, 2 lines?
Typically 30 seconds.
30
Typically
seconds?
30
Okay.
seconds, yes.
Okay, for new data scientists, right, who want to join Grab? Okay.
Yes. Hold on. I'm actually going to make it interesting and time you, if that's okay.
Wow, another level of
Yeah.
pressure.
Another level of pressure. Come on, you
Yes.
thought you were the only ones who could pressure kids? Let me turn the heat up on you. Okay, clock. Where did we go? And your time starts now.
So, at Grab, we have such a wide range of interesting problems for you to solve, challenging problems, all from, fulfillment to safety to mapping and so on and so forth, consumer experience, driver experience, right? There's so much room for you to play with. There's so much data for you to play with, and you have so much potential to really drive impact, towards Grab's mission about, empowering everyday entrepreneurs in Southeast Asia. So what's stopping you from joining us? Join us today.
All right, coming in close on 35 seconds. Well done, Serene. That was a good one. Okay, Jia, can you beat 35 seconds? Let's see. That's the benchmark now.
Yeah, I think it's really almost like cover all the necessary
She did.
points. Yeah, I don't know
Okay.
where I should start, but I'll
Let's
give
hear
it a
it from you.
try.
Yeah, your time starts now.
Hey, do you want to generate the next generation of technology? Do you want to see a new? Sorry, let me restart. Give me some time.
Sure, we'll reset the
Yeah,
clock.
Should ask
Yeah.
ChatGPT and decide.
Good idea.
Wow.
Good idea.
Spoken like a true data scientist. Eats, sleeps, breathes the algorithms.
Hey, are you curious about like how recommendation works? Do you know what happens when you put down a query and any system give you an answer? Do you want this kind of magic happens every day on Grab app, which impacts millions of lives in Southeast Asia? Do you know how we create the largest map and most detailed mapping in Southeast Asia? Those are powered by a lot of like data science technologies. Are you also interested in creating a next generation of large model powered user experience? If you are really having an innovative mind, if you are not satisfied with any technology you see nowadays, come and join us. Build your own version of that.
Ooh, Compelling, quite compelling, slightly meaty at 53 seconds, but hey,
Oh,
that
yeah.
was very compelling and comprehensive. But we've got a short version and we've got a longer version, so that's perfect. That's very good for elevator pitch. Thank you for indulging me with this. Okay, now let's go back to Serene. And Serene, for folks to understand, or for anybody who would like to connect with you after watching Grab a Seat podcast, what is it that you and your team are responsible for as the head of data science at Grab? Please tell us.
So at Fulfilment Data Science, we are essentially embedding data science models in every stage of the fulfillment journey, from supply positioning to allocation to batching to pricing to just the whole end-to-end experience and the end-to-end journey to essentially get your rights fulfilled, get your orders fulfilled. So there's a lot that we can do in that space, and we keep enhancing our models and to make it a lot more optimal and efficient. It's a lot of interesting work here. So join us.
That's
Oh,
incredible.
am I supposed to
Sounds
say
like
join us?
Nah, every sentence, every answer is an opportunity for you to attract talent. So yes, you can add join us at the end of every statement. But also, what a fulfilling job you and your team do.
Exactly.
in
Exactly.
the fulfillment.
Absolutely.
Just for
Isn't it?
clarification, this is about like the team's responsibility or about like our responsibility as individuals?
Both enmeshed together. Yes, what you do
Okay.
as the head and what you and your teams are responsible for.
Okay, sure.
Is that okay?
Yeah, sure, of course.
Okay, amazing. Over to you, Ja. What are you and your teams responsible for, Ja, at Grab?
Yeah, my team is responsible for protecting the user experience, protecting the system's security, safety, and preventing bad things from happening. So we are literally screening every transaction, every user event, including logging, booking, applying promo code, etc. So we are trying to block the fraudulent behaviors, suspicious behaviors as much as possible. And we are trying to create an invisible and seamless experience for every of you in front of us. So my responsibility is more around shaping the strategy, taking some risk, and bridging teams across data science teams and with stakeholders inside Grab, and also collaborating outside Grab.
That's amazing. Everything that you all do sounds like the Avengers, which is preventing from bad things from happening, keeping the world in order. And y'all are just wearing cool glasses and sitting in Singapore in offices and doing that. That's the only difference. Very minor difference. Very minor difference.
Digital Avengers. We don't have
Digital Avengers.
superpowers like in the physical world.
Digital Avengers. You should make that your next Grab annual event tagline. Absolutely. Okay.
We'll try.
Last question for both of you. And I know you interact so much with on-ground, online events, Serene. You go and you're such a motivation and an inspiration to everybody, but also especially young girls getting into STEM, young girls getting into IT, into data science. For all those who are listening, for women who are looking to build their careers in this field, in IT, in data science, what are some pearls of wisdom? What are some nuggets of advice that you have for those seeking some words of motivation and inspiration?
Right, absolutely. I think I would say, just do what you love, right? Don't be afraid to do what you love, even if, you might be the minority in that situation, right? Because I think what you love will actually drive you really, really far. And I guess see yourself as someone who can, change the game for the other people coming after you, right? So that could be part of your journey as well, right? So do what you love. Don't worry about anything else. And, I think that will be the right path for you.
Beautiful. Do what you love, change the game for those coming after you. Wow, such heavy, impactful words. I'm loving it. I'm going away with these really rich words. Thank you, Serene, for that. Ja, what advice would you like to give for young professionals or even mid-career professionals who are looking to tether their ship and their careers with Grab?
Keep an open mind. Like embrace the new technologies. setting no boundaries for yourself. Just pursue your dream. That's what I get.
Wow. Beautiful. I feel like I'm at a TED talk, you folks. This is really, really well done. No boundaries. Don't limit yourself. Keep an open mind. Fantastic motivational words there from you, Jia. Well, I think, like I said, I would love to keep talking and chatting with both of you incredible individuals all day long, but I understand you also have other important things to do, like running the biggest super app and the data science teams in Asia. So really appreciate. Thank you so much for all the valuable time, information, insights that you have brought here to this podcast episode. And I hope you had as much fun as I did.
Thank you so
Indeed.
much. That was a great time.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And to everyone watching or listening to Grab a Seat podcast, don't forget to tune into the rest of the episodes where your mind's going to be blown by incredible leaders from Grab. Thanks so much for tuning in. Have a beautiful day.